So good news, you do not suck at being an indie artist. You're still just figuring it out. And so is every single other indie artist out there. See, the fact is that indie artists have really only been around since the 1980s, and they've only existed in this current digital landscape since after the 2010s. So what I'm getting at here is that you, me, and every other indie artist trying to do this thing is new to it. Being an indie artist is an art form, and like any other art form, it takes years to develop a strategy that's consistent and works for the majority. For any art form to flourish, it takes three things: time, trial, and error. And I would argue personally that we are still very much in the time part of that three-part equation. So as I can see it, the biggest problem with being new at this is that the only model most of us follow is a broken one made by people who are not very good at their job. See, it used to be that you did not make music outside of your kumbaya campfire circle unless you had a little thing called a record label. Why would that be? Well, because studio gear was wildly expensive, much more expensive than it is now. Manufacturing and distribution were not a widespread service you could just get a hold of, and radios were blocked by gatekeepers from the record labels. So that meant that the only way to actually make music as an artist and have a music career was to get funding by a record label. But here's where the problem starts. The thing is, labels have never known what is going to truly resonate with people. Now, that works okay, right? When you have full control of the airwaves, when you are determining every single thing that gets played. People just want to be entertained. When you have full control of the entertainment, when everything you throw at them is more entertaining than nothing at all, people tune in, people listen, and you've got a pretty damn good business going. But what happens when the creation process, the distribution process, and the listening process are all fully accessible from your bedroom? Well, now you're screwed, right? If you never know what's going to take off in the first place, and now you have the threat of not being the one in control of what people are hearing and being entertained by anymore, you scramble. You are facing the threat of not being needed anymore. And so what is the solution to this? Well, you sign and get as many of those musicians in your control as you possibly can. You try and control what's being played, what people are hearing, just like you used to. But here's the thing is that not every bet pays off, right? So no matter how many artists the three major labels sign in a year, in 2017, I think it was like 658. I couldn't find any specific information for 2024. And, obviously we haven't made it through 2025 yet. We only end up with 3 to 4 Charli XCX, Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, Chaperone. We only end up with a few of those every year, like total dominating chart topping forces, right? But even with those kinds of statistics stacked against them, the way that labels market, promote, and push their artists has really not changed very much since 1889 when Columbia Records first set up shop. It's like you put them on billboards if you can, if you have the money, you run ads and you tour, right? Like you sell some merch. And that's it. That's the strategy. Like there's not anything else to it other than that. Especially when you don't really sell a whole lot of records anymore and everything is digital and everything is streaming. It's like labels are totally clueless on how to capitalize on this current digital landscape. Even with that being the case, 90% of the indie artists I know, and I know myself every time I've made a release, we're following the exact same mold laid out by the majors for their artists.
They haven't figured out a way to provide enough value for the amount that they own you. Not only that, but they don't want to do any work. They just want the artist to blow up on social media by themselves. They don't want to have to put any work in, and it's an outdated formula that doesn't work anymore.
But that's not really your fault. It's not really your fault if you're doing that same thing and not seeing growth from it. Sometimes it's literally as simple as like, we just don't think there's another way that could work, right? We are simply just standing in line for a lottery that we have been told is the line we need to stand in if we want to have a chance at winning. But what happens if we do ask the question, is there another way? We'll take an artist like La Russell, right? He's doing that. He's asking, is there another way? It led him to starting his own LLC in 2019 so that he can fully own his means of production.
Ready to invest all his time and money in himself and his music, La Russell wanted to seize the means of production and control every facet of his brand. So he bought his own recording and editing equipment and even his own screen printing machines, and he pulled his friends and family close to help him start this literal cottage industry right there in his garage.
He prioritizes quality with quantity and working with a team of people that are from his neighborhood, family, people that support him, that love him, that want him to succeed, people that truly care about him and the music he's making.
I think the most important thing about building a team is having people that really care about you ultimately, not even just your art, but having people that really care about you and what you're doing. Beyond what we save, we put our life energy into it in our heart. You're getting something that was really created and crafted by us at home.
And that is how he maintains authenticity in his art, his music, and his business as well.
So you had your hands on literally every piece of product?
Every piece, everything you see from like Good Company or you hear receive from Good Company, I've seen or touched. It's in my house, my team touches it. If it's dropped to the post office, my mom takes it, the homies take it, everything here.
He gives every single person on his team, from people helping him make merch to admin assistants to his mom, he gives them all splits in every single song that he releases.
You know, I make sure everyone who's contributing to my art get a split and get a percent. It's very clear and transparent that what we're doing when I build with people, this is how I'm going to split it up. This is the percentage you're going to get, you know, and you get your stuff right away. You're able to see it, you know, like all of my team members have splits so they could see in their accounts, oh, this is what we worked on. This is the percent I got from it. It's coming in, you know.
Everyone on your team gets shares in the songs. And when you said that, I initially thought you meant, you know, the side artist and the producer and the engineer.
Right.
But you actually meant everyone on the team, including the people pressing the merch and shipping and handling everything. So they all see residuals.
They all see residuals. The more work you do here, the more you own, you know.
That's incredible.
He builds a sense of camaraderie and family, and he's still hosting shows every week in his backyard in his neighborhood. He's solid not because he's topping every chart, but because his foundation is built on good community and good music.
It creates a realer experience, you know, like there's some people who support so much, they buy so much merch that sometimes I'll see their name, it's like, we could throw them extra, hook them up with a package. Like, you know, it's just a realer experience. We connect with these people. Sometimes we'll drop off packages and if I drop it off, you know, they want to take a picture. It's like, it's a real experience.
And his fans feel that. The people that support him feel that. And when that is your business model, is like good community and good music, it's so much deeper than just the music, right? People want to be a part of that. You start to build something larger than the product. People start to feel like they belong, that they're a part of what you're doing, and you can regularly catch him offering pickleball meetups and hand delivering merch sometimes to people in his neighborhood. And if that isn't far left field from a major label artist, I don't know what is. Another really successful indie I know, Anthony Lazaro, keeps it stupid simple, and he just makes a lot of music every year, but he makes a lot of music in collaboration with other indie artists he really admires. And by doing the thing he loves and collaborating a ton, he not only doubles his odds of getting the music that he wants to get out there to the people who love it, to the people who want to hear it, but he also doubles his metrics every time he does that, right? And he does that by sharing listeners with these other artists, and then also building really strong algorithmic ties and splitting the load of content and, you know, splitting the cost of the behind the scenes production, you know, the creation of the actual song. And it's really smart. A major label artist can't just collaborate freely like that. They can't touch their fans in the way that LaRussell touches his fans, right? Everything has to go through this process of not only approval on the creation end, but then also this really tight, restricted funnel of how you're allowed to market your music, because it has to be marketed the way that they think it has to be marketed. And there's no freedom within that to get really creative, to get really inspired. These are just two simple examples out of dozens I could list where the artist has asked, what if I utilize my freedom as an independent artist to do things the way that I think would be most integrous to not only myself, but to also try and reach as many fans as I think will resonate with that integrity, will sense that authenticity from me and resonate with the music, but also my style and the way that I approach this craft, this art of being an indie artist.
There's no one way to do business. Like, the music business have been like this and have been corrupt by choice. Not by necessity, but literally because people choose to be this way.
So those examples are great, right? But where does that leave you today after watching this video? Well, my urge to you is this. Just start by doing things the way that you think they should be done. If something makes you roll your eyes and cringe when you think about doing it, right? My best friend listening to my song for the first time, or did I just make the song of the summer, right? If those things don't resonate with you, don't do them. If you have freedom, use it. Network. Make cool, unique merch that will resonate with your audience. Don't just stick to the basic t-shirt, poster, CD, right? Play house shows, build a community around what you're doing, host house shows and lift up other indie artists in the community, right? Make it a group thing. Play pickleball with your fans. Like, that's so cool. Don't have any fans? Well, start making music with your other artist friends who also don't have any fans. Make music with their friends who don't have any fans. By linking arms and connecting over the fact that you're all new to this and you're all trying to find something that works, you're gonna share ideas. You're gonna start to build algorithmic ties. You're gonna start to fall upon strategies and ideas of ways that you can start to create a fan base, ways that you can start to create a community around your music. Do content, but do it in a way that feels authentic to you. Do it in a way that speaks to the people who would want to listen to your music. If your fan base is audiophiles and record collectors, right, then your strategies are gonna look different than if your fan base is 14 and 15-year-old teenagers. And study indies that are killing it and have killed it if they've moved on to now do something else. LaRussell, Brent Faiyaz, Russ, and dig deeper than what the algorithm is feeding you, because they're absolutely out there. Follow their lead and then improvise based on your unique situation, right? They can set some kind of template, but then fill it in with your own words. Move step 1 to step 3, reorganize, and get in there and be creative with it the same way you want to be creative with your music. I don't know why we restrict the creativity to the music making process, and then when it comes to the business side, we just shut ourselves off and we completely jump into this mindset that we have to just stay on a set track. Stop emulating and start innovating. If we dare to think bigger than the mold that has been laid out for us, we are going to strike gold. It's going to happen. And if and when you do stumble on things that are working, share that knowledge with the independent community, right? Push that into your circle so that it doesn't stay there, but it goes then into those people's circles. Push these things out, start to spread that knowledge, start to link arms with other indies so that we can all start putting our heads together and doing this thing. If we do that, in 50 more years, we will absolutely have some kind of strategy for this thing, some kind of thing that generally works for the majority. We just have to stay consistent and be persistent, right? Time, trial, and error. Those are the 3 things that develop an art form. We have to think for ourselves, and we have to think with the people around us. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's impossible. And here's the thing, when we start finding things that work, I guarantee you the majors will be scratching their heads still doing the same shit that they've been doing since 1889. So if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. This way of thinking about being an indie artist has really changed a lot for me. It's so much easier to think about something in a way that is, I am still learning, rather than this is just impossible and it doesn't work. So I really hope this is encouraging for you. Remember to stay consistent always, and never let anything stop you from making the music that you dream of making.